Greetings. This is Justin Allen with the Elite Nurse Practitioner. Welcome to the Elite Nurse Practitioner Show, podcast dedicated to nurse practitioner entrepreneurism and achieving financial freedom, where I talk directly with nurse practitioners who need help. Listen up, our market is saturated. Jobs can be scarce. We are underpaid. We are undervalued. We are taken advantage of by the sharks within the healthcare system, and frankly, screw that. I'm sick of it, and it's time for a change. And listen, I'm here to help make that happen. We are powerful. We can forge a path where we are in control of our career and ultimately our financial and personal well-being. You do not need to submit to healthcare administrators and your doctor overlords. You do not have to take a measly salary. You do not have to work 50 to 60 hours a week. There is a different way, and I'm here to show you that path. This podcast is raw and unfiltered. I have not talked to the nurse practitioners in this podcast prior to the call outside of an email exchange to schedule the episode. What you're about to listen to is a consultation session between a nurse practitioner and myself. It is real, it is unscripted, it is unplanned, and I have no idea what we're going to talk about. Anything and everything can happen during our conversation. The nurse practitioners in these episodes are struggling with an issue in their professional or financial life, and they have reached out to me for help. My goal is to help the nurse practitioner with actionable advice that will enhance and improve their professional, business, and financial life. My other goal is to hopefully help my nurse practitioner sisters and brothers build a more productive, powerful, and free life. So I hope the content and information within these podcast episodes does just that. All right, onto the episode. Hello, everyone. Today, we will be talking to Shanda, who is an adult nurse practitioner practicing out of New Jersey. Currently, she is working full-time in a cardiology practice. She also owns a part-time opioid addiction practice focused on buprenorphine and naltrexone. She recently ventured out and also started a part-time medical cannabis practice. She is currently working on starting another part-time practice focused on medical weight loss. She is looking for assistance on how to grow her opioid addiction and medical cannabis practice. She is having issues with marketing her practice, as she knows she will need to dial in her marketing efforts if she wants to grow. She's also wanting direction on transitioning her opioid addiction clinic to an insurance accepting practice, as revenue has been somewhat flat, being a cash only practice. Hey, Shanda, how are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Thank you for hopping on this call. It sounds like you're a busy girl. You got a full-time job, 3 practices. My goodness.
Yes. I know that people probably think I'm insane, but I embrace it.
Well, listen, there's definitely some insanity, I think, that comes with almost every entrepreneur out there, you know? So
I agree.
yeah. So anyways, though, let's just hop into this. So tell me about yourself. How long you've been a nurse practitioner for, what you've been doing as a nurse practitioner. Just give me a good, brief summary of where you're at in life.
All right. So I've been a nurse practitioner for about 10 years. I have done a multitude of things from home calls. I'm doing inpatient cardiology right now. I've done a little bit of urgent care and primary care, which I really didn't like, but I've found my love in cardiology. I worked for a couple of different cardiology groups, and I just got the entrepreneurial bug. About 5 years ago, I had a business partner, and we parted ways in September 2020. And I have been running the business solely by myself since then, and just looking to take it to the next level. I'm investing in myself, with business coaching and just trying, reading different books, just trying to be a smarter entrepreneur. I want to work smarter, not harder. And
Right.
So that's my goal.
Okay. Curious, what happened with the whole partnership?
So when we first opened the practice, we agreed that, we would have a certain amount of time to implement different ideas and strategies. And then when I would discuss with her, hey, let's start planning our next strategy so that when we're ready to move, everything is all planned and ready to go. She's like, we haven't even given this X amount of strategies a chance. We just didn't see eye to eye on business practices. I felt like I was doing the majority of the heavy lifting in the business, and it just unfortunately did not work out. She had her own practice doing home calls, so she graciously stepped away from the business. I gave her half of what was in the account, and that was that.
Good. Okay. Yeah. I mean, sometimes matches, with partnerships like that, they just don't work.
Right.
I think if you can find a good partner, that's really rare. A lot of business partnerships tend to not work out very well. So, okay. Well, interesting. All right. So you're working full time as a cardiology nurse practitioner right now, and you got a
Mhm.
couple businesses up and running, and you are in the process of starting another weight loss clinic. So tell me about how the opioid addiction clinic's doing first.
It's actually more than maintained itself pretty much the whole time it's been open. I did a lot of heavy marketing in person, face to face marketing with different, like I got a hold of the drug rep, picked her brain. She found me a pharmacist a small mom and pop pharmacist that I refer the majority of my patients to. He's referred me patients. So the practice more than maintains itself. It just doesn't make a large profit. My overhead is very low. I have a small little space, but it is not wheelchair accessible. That's one of the issues that I have with it. But the practice, like I said, it more than supports itself because my overhead is low. But I want to get to that kind of sweet spot of 8 to 10K per month because that would really help me fund my retirement. That is the goal of this business, is to fund my retirement.
Sure. Okay. How old are you?
46.
46. Okay. Gotcha. So
Mm-hmm.
you're wanting to be retired in the next 10 years, I'm assuming.
Mm-hmm.
Preferably. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So if you don't mind, what are the numbers like in the opioid addiction clinic that you have here? Like, I mean, how much money are you making a month in revenue? What are your expenses like? And what's the general profit?
So the best month that I've had is about 3,500, and my
Okay.
expenses are about between 1,500 and 2,000 if I do extra marketing. I've also taken on a nurse practitioner employee. So she only works a couple hours a week. She only works one evening, one day a week. So I only pay her maybe between $400 and $800 a month. My rent is only $815 a month. I have an answering service that's about $100. I have my Ring Central, which is my phone, my fax, that runs me about 80. I pay for my malpractice, which I prepaid.
So it sounds like you have a pretty simple, I mean, a
I
pretty
do.
simple practice here. Yeah. I mean,
I do.
you're totally following the elite MP model here. You got a job, a part-time practice that's cheap to operate. So
Mhm.
well done. And it's probably helped you get your feet wet with being an entrepreneur too, you know? So,
Yes.
okay. So you're making about 1,000 to 1,500 bucks profit in your pocket a month then from this place.
Right.
You have another nurse practitioner seeing patients for you.
Yes. So if I have, say, 10 patients scheduled, she's a little on the slower side. So she'll see 3 or 4 because she's new at this and she's a newer NP. And I know all the patients. So I can, pop them out
Sure.
quick because they're
Well,
my.
why do you have this person? I mean, this is such a low volume practice. I mean, why aren't you just doing this yourself? I'm just kind of, wanting to know your
I
thought
was.
process here.
My goal was to increase the patient load, my patient census, by taking insurance. So she's going to see only insurance paying people. And I'm almost done with the credentialing process. That is her role.
I
I would
see.
continue. Yeah, I would continue to do this. It was going to continue to be cash pay. I wouldn't have hired anybody, but I wanted to try something different out of the box because I do have a lot of other addiction medicine clinics around me. So I wanted to offer something different that not many other clinics do. So that's why I'm trialing this
Right.
insurance.
Well, I'll tell you, I think when you're fully credentialed with insurance, and you start accepting insurance for this, your practice is going to get busy real quick. So,
That's what I'm hoping because I have a lot of patients. They're like, well, if you took insurance, my wife would come. Or if you took insurance, I have a whole bunch of buddies who would come.
oh,
So,
absolutely. Absolutely. No, no, no. Your practice is getting ready to get very, very busy, very, very fast. When it comes to opioid addiction, when word gets out, they tell their friends and all this kind of stuff. I mean, all these addicts hang out with other addicts. They all want
right,
treatment and whatnot.
right.
It's just, yeah, that's just that game. So, yeah, you're going to get busy very quickly. So, well done. I applaud you for having a nurse practitioner on hand that you're slowly training right now, preparing for the inevitable wave that's going to crash into your practice. So, well done. Good forward thinking there.
I'm
Yeah.
not taking Medicaid. I am only taking commercial insurance for now.
Sure, I don't blame you there. Yeah. I don't know. That might be, a lot of these patients have Medicaid, though. That's been my experience. So,
That is true. That
y-
I don't disagree, but a good majority of my patients are working class that have commercial insurance.
oh, well, even better then. So you have a really good, solid patient base here then.
Right. I'm going to switch them to insurance. Hopefully they'll refer patients and I can get on the, registries and I can advertise. So
Yep.
that's my plan.
Okay, good. So you want to keep this somewhat high end ish And you're
Yes.
wanting to keep, working class people, higher class people, that kind of stuff, avoiding
Right.
all the Medicaid people coming in, right? Okay. I don't blame you.
Mm.
I don't blame you one bit. Yeah. I was working at a methadone clinic one time doing their Suboxone program. It was all Medicaid. And I'll
Mhm.
tell you, that's a different beast in itself. God bless people who want to do it, but
I
no
agree.
thanks.
It's a different, like you said, it's a different kind of person. And I don't think that I'm ready for that amount of volume because I don't want
Right.
to quit my job because I like my job.
Okay. So then, you're both going to be able to do, 250 patients a piece essentially when you get
Hmm.
that last waiver. So, this could be a very, very large practice and you could generate a lot of money through this practice if you structured it correctly and had systems in place and staff to handle that kind of volume. So,
Hmm.
I think you'll just play that by ear. Is that kind of what your plan is?
Yes, yes. I
Yeah.
have a lab assistant that's going to help with, checking patients in, doing the insurance checks. She's already agreed to do that. So I think I have the basic skeleton and then, like you said, kind of play it by ear and see what I need to add as far as
Okay.
process.
Okay. So then, in terms of the insurance itself, so how you make a lot of money with insurance and opioid addiction is, it's billing for the visits, right?
Hmm.
And so if you're seeing the patients, once every 3 months, obviously you're not going to make any money whatsoever. It's going to be worth your while. So what most opioid addiction clinics do from a business standpoint in terms of accepting insurance is that they usually will see the patients, weekly, every 2 weeks, or at a maximum, monthly. And so that way they can get the insurance billings and, not only that, but just to hold their patients accountable. You know how these patients are.
Right.
So what have been your thoughts on that? How are you going to structure visit frequency and whatnot?
So currently with even my cash pay patients, when they first start, they either come to me weekly. If they're unstable, they come to me every 2 weeks for a month if they're stable and they have to have 2 clean urines. So I plan to pretty much stay with that. I could add, maybe every 2 weeks for 3 visits, maybe a 6 week initial start to increase the frequency.
Okay. Now, remember, you make money off the visits here, though. Okay.
Right.
So you need to be seeing these patients at least, I'd probably do every 2 weeks for 3 months.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. You need visits here. If you're not billing visits, you're never going to get to that 10, 15, $20,000 a month mark. You're just not going to.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I would probably stick with every 2 weeks for the first 3 months, maybe weekly for the first month, bi-weekly for 3 months. And then you can go to monthly to the people who are, compliant, going to counseling, getting their urines done and so forth.
Okay.
Yeah. And these should be level 4 visits. Okay.
Okay.
You are managing an addiction, you're managing medications. These people are going to have systemic symptoms in terms of the withdrawal symptoms. There's going to be a counseling component involved in this. So you need to be billing level 4 visits at a minimum on each patient,
Okay.
no
Hmm.
less than that. If you start billing level 2s and stuff, you will make nothing.
Okay.
So level 4 visits, that's how it's always been done with any kind of Suboxone program I've ever worked at.
Okay.
So keep that in mind as well. So it sounds like you have that. Like I said, increase the frequency, bill level 4s, and outsource the work to your other NP and enjoy the passive income.
That's fine. And I plan to, pay her well because she's
Absolutely.
a nice person. I gave her an opportunity that she had her waiver for 2 years and never gotten an opportunity. So she really appreciates this opportunity that I'm giving her. And I appreciate her sticking with me because it's been a little rocky in the beginning. So
That's good. That's good. Yeah. So it sounds like you have pretty much that dialed in. I guess you're having an issue with marketing this or something, or
yeah. So I have a guy who does my website. He charges me very little. He does blogs on my website. He does the search engine optimization. Some months he hits it out the park. These last 4 or 5 months, I've received barely any calls. And I'm just trying to figure out what can I do to improve my
well, what are
marketing.
you ranking at right now on, when you Google your practice or just Google opioid addiction treatment near me? Are you coming up?
I doubt it because I mean I've never Googled done a Google. I look at my analytics that he
No,
when
no,
he
no,
does.
no. You need to act like you're the patient. So get on Google
Okay.
right now and type in opioid addiction near me and see if you pop up.
I live about 30 minutes away from my office, but
Well, just zoom in on the map. Just type in opioid addiction clinic or Suboxone clinic or Suboxone doctor, stuff that patients are going to be searching for, and just zoom in on the map, where your clinic is. Are you popping up? Like, are you coming up on the search results?
let me see. I'm number one. I said opiate addiction in Audubon. I'm number one.
Okay. So SEO is not an issue here.
No.
Okay, so that's not an issue. Patients just aren't searching.
It could be, or I could say in Camden County because my business is in Camden County.
Yeah. So, listen, the SEO's dialed in. I mean, you're ranking number one, you're gonna have to just get
Mhm.
in there and experiment with some keywords and see if you keep popping up. Do you have lots of Google reviews?
I don't have Google reviews. I do have
Ooh.
ZocDoc reviews, but because
Ah.
people feel weird about leaving their name because they're in an addiction clinic.
Well, I mean, they could always, anonymous and stuff. They can just create a new Google account just for the review. But I get that. I mean, I understand that, you know.
Mhm.
Just try
I
to
mean,
see if some people will leave you some reviews. It's important.
okay, I'll ask.
Do the other clinics have reviews?
Not that I've seen. I mean, I have plenty of reviews on because I use Square as my payment, and my patients have left. God sent me this doctor because she's so great. I've asked them to leave reviews on ZocDoc because I put myself on ZocDoc, which I found a couple
Right.
of patients through there.
But the Google reviews really are very important. Okay.
Okay,
So
all right.
try to get some people to leave some reviews on there if they can. If they don't want their name on there, I get it. Just have them create an account to be anonymous.
Okay.
Okay. Very, very important. They might not be calling you because there's no reviews or anything. When people don't see reviews, they wonder if your clinic is even real.
Oh, okay. All right.
You know what I mean? Think about that. I mean, you're going to be the same way when you're looking at a business. You're like, is this business even real? There's not a single review on it. Like, what?
Right. Okay. All right.
Right,
Good,
right.
good
Yeah.
point.
So it sounds like the SEO, your website, I mean, that sounds like that's not the issue at all. So maybe throw some reviews up on there. But, a lot of this is word of mouth. It just is. It's
Mhm.
counselors, it's therapists, it's probation officers, referring patients to you, that sort of stuff. So this really is just good old strapping on your boots and getting out in the community kind of marketing. It's almost impossible to advertise opioid addiction treatment online. There is a special license that you can apply for to have that designation so you can advertise on Google and advertise on Facebook and whatnot. I don't remember the exact name of it. I talk about it in the opioid addiction course. I referenced it in that course, but
It's pricey though. It's very pricey.
okay, yeah. So you can apply for that, so you can advertise, but I don't think a lot of people do that. So it might just be a good
Mhm.
idea for you to just get out there, get the word out. Tell people that you're accepting insurance now. That
Mhm.
alone will drive your business. I think this is just something that is waiting to explode. And I think once you take insurance, that's probably what will happen because, a lot of opioid addiction clinics anymore, it used to be more of a cash game, but a lot of clinics are moving towards, insurance accepting models. Yeah. So I think once you do that, I think it'll grow. I think you just need to be a little bit patient with it. I bet in 3 to 4 months after you credential, I suspect it'll just organically grow.
I'm hoping your mouth to God's ears.
I really do. Like I'm really confident about that. Okay, just get the
Okay.
Google. Make sure your Google business listing is up to date. Make sure there's some reviews there. Make sure you update your website. We accept all major insurances. Blah 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 blah. Blah. So just and get the word out with some other places.
Okay.
One of my big referral sources when I had an opioid addiction clinic was the local probation office. They sent me so
Hmm.
many patients. Yeah.
Really?
Yep. I
Okay.
literally just called them up. I spoke to the manager. I told them who I was. I went in, I talked with them. I gave them some brochures and stuff, and they started referring patients to me.
Okay.
I mean, think about it. Those people do not want to violate probation. You know what I mean? Like if they're on
Right.
Suboxone, then it's a medical treatment.
Yes, that's true. That's true.
Yeah. And I know that you have this medical cannabis business as well. Listen, typically, if there's medical cannabis in your state and probation and parole, they will typically allow their clients, the people who were offended, they'll typically allow them to test positive for THC, cannabis in their urines if they have a medical cannabis card. And
Hmm.
so, yeah, the local probation and parole office, they send their clients to me for a medical cannabis card because they don't want to violate over weed. It's stupid.
Right. Right. Right.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. So just keep that in mind. Okay.
Yes, definitely.
Let's move away from this opioid addiction. I really feel like this is going to be something that's just going to organically grow from you once you get insurance. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. So I don't really think we need to talk too much about it. I think once you get some Google reviews and you start accepting insurance, it should just grow. Oh, another one too, before I forget, Narcotics Anonymous meetings, Alcoholics Anonymous meetings, leave cards there, that kind of thing. That should help as well.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Well, anyways, medical cannabis. So tell me about this. So you started this when?
I started it technically at the beginning of the year. I have a virtual assistant who's been very helpful, but she is so slow. And I got bogged down with a couple of things. Then she got COVID, blah, 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 in the middle of everything. So my marketing piece has been stalled. I'm just now getting the final drafts of my marketing materials, which I have to get printed, but I have a website. I've got my doing business as documentation. I've seen 2 whole patients since I started at the beginning of the year, just because it was just a word of mouth talking to my friends and leaving my rough draft brochure in my office on the front desk. And that's how I got the 2 patients that I saw.
Okay. So you only seen 2 patients.
Right. Yes. Because I haven't done any active marketing except for, I have a trifold brochure, I have a postcard brochure, I have a QR code, I have everything. I just haven't done the active marketing yet.
Right. So again, marketing medical cannabis is kind of like opioid addiction. It's very, very difficult. It's almost impossible to advertise online. Okay.
Mhm.
It just is. The ads will not be approved. It's a waste of time. So
Okay.
again, this is going to be an SEO game. Okay. This is going to be just patients organically finding you. Okay. So they just search for, medical cannabis clinic near me, medical cannabis doctor, medical marijuana cards near me, those
Mhm.
kinds of things. And so they'll search for those keywords in your area and
Mhm.
you just need to pop up, basically. You need to have lots of reviews. You need to have a website that's straight to the point, goes over your prices, what it is that you
Mhm.
do, how to schedule an appointment, very, very simple. It's a medical cannabis clinic. It does not have to be in, a super advanced website. And so that's kind of how people are going to find you, is just organically finding you on searches, basically. And that can take a few months for that to happen. You said you do have a website?
I do.
Do you have a Google business listing for that?
I did create one, but I haven't really done anything with it.
Okay, so that needs to be updated. You need to get some
Mhm.
reviews on there, updated pictures, that kind of stuff. Okay.
Yep.
So yeah, I think once that happens, you should start getting some phone calls. And this is kind of a word of mouth thing too. And it's also a referral game. So, dispensaries need to be referring patients to you.
So how did I listened to your medical marijuana course, the medical cannabis course, and how did you approach going into? I'm scared spitless of going into a dispensary because I literally have one less than a mile from my house. It's about maybe 20 minutes from my office. I am scared spitless to walk into that place because I don't know how to approach them with what I have to offer.
I mean, they're just potheads at the end of the day. There's nothing to be scared about. I
The
mean,
owners maybe not though.
in my experience, most of these owners, they use a lot of the cannabis as well. But yeah, I mean, they're usually really cool, down to earth people. Okay. Like,
Okay.
never had a negative experience with anyone working or managing or owning a dispensary. Not one time. All right.
Okay.
You can either call them or you can just show up face to face and just walk in and just introduce yourself and give them some cards. There's going to be some luck involved here. All right. I got lucky. I just happened to call the right dispensary at the right time when a regional manager was there. And I spoke to him on the phone and we met like the next day for like a quick lunch or whatever. And we hit it off. And yeah, like 3 or 4 of his dispensaries just started sending patients to me. Like, I
Oh,
just got lucky. Yeah.
wow. Okay.
Yeah. But that wasn't the first place I called. Okay. Like, that was like, I mean, I don't even remember how many places I called before. All it takes is one person to say yes. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So you might call 10 different dispensaries and they all say, we already have a clinic that we refer patients to or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
All it
Okay.
takes is one, though, to say yes. And they'll start referring a lot of patients to you. All right. I hope everyone's enjoying the episode so far. I just wanted to take a quick break to thank everyone listening and also give a big thank you to all of my social media followers and email subscribers. If you haven't done so yet, please subscribe to our email list at www.elitenp.com and make sure to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. Email subscribers will receive updates on new weekly podcast episodes, multiple weekly articles we publish, new courses, and everything else related to helping you succeed. Remember, all elite nurse practitioner courses are designed to help you build a niche practice, increase your financial strength, and to break free from the rat race. If I can break free and the other countless nurse practitioners can break free, then so can you. Additionally, please share this podcast with your other nurse practitioner sisters and brothers out there. The more NPs that venture out on their own, the stronger our profession will become. Now, let's get back to the episode. So that's kind of how the medical cannabis game kind of works, is that, because a lot of people just don't know where to go for this. So they usually call the dispensaries, and the dispensaries can be like, hey, we like this clinic. They do the evaluations. They care about patients, blah, 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 whatever. So
Okay.
yeah. So it's kind of a referral thing. So what I would do is I would either just call them or show up, get some business cards printed off, have it be a discount card as well. Okay. It'll have your web address on it, phone number, the address of the practice itself, and have it be like a discount card, for example.
Okay.
Just list the prices on it, present this, $100 evaluation, for example, and it's normally $150 or whatever the prices are. Make it a pretty significant discount. People will use it. They'll show up and they'll hand you the cards, and you'll know they got that card from a dispensary. They had to have. There's nowhere else they would have got it.
Got it. Okay.
Yep. I get a lot of cards on days I do cannabis evaluation, just because I just go and leave them at the dispensaries. People pick them up when they're checking out. Yeah.
Okay.
Dirt cheap.
So how much of a discount do you normally give? Because my initial evaluation for new patients is like 200, which is about average. And then if they're a current patient in my office, I charge 150. Would you give them like a 20%?
I mean, I only charge $100
for an initial.
Yeah. It's so easy. There's no liability to it. The visit takes 10 minutes.
That is true. That is very true.
Like, I've never understood why medical cannabis clinics charge so much for this. You cannot legally get in trouble. Okay. There's been Supreme Court cases where a medical provider cannot be held criminally responsible for giving someone a medical cannabis card. It's your First Amendment right to recommend whatever you want. So for one, you're basically legally protected. Two, it's practically zero liability. Most of these people are already self-medicating. So you giving them a card, I mean, how are you medically liable for anything, right? And it takes 10 minutes. All you're doing is saying, yes, they have a qualifying medical condition, and signing off on something. Like, it's the easiest money in the world. There's like nothing to so charging $200 for that. I mean, you certainly can if you want. What I have found is that if you charge reasonable rates, people will start referring more patients to you, and the volume will offset the higher prices that you had before.
Okay. Yeah. I will definitely take that into consideration, because I've done that. I guess I should, because I've done that with my addiction medicine clinic, in that I'm significantly cheaper than other places.
There's no skin off your back for doing this. I mean, why not?
Okay.
Yeah. Charge $100, $120, or even $150. I mean, if you're undercutting everyone, okay, so be it. Welcome to capitalism.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So make some discount cards, significant discounts on it, and then we'll walk around dispensaries and hand those out. And I guarantee you will get business.
Okay.
And plus, you have to have a Google business listing and stuff as well. Okay. So again, this is kind of premature. You haven't really set this up appropriately yet. So do you have a lot of competition?
Not a whole lot. No, because I've looked, and the way that the website is set up on the state site, you literally have to like search out the doctor or the office. There's no easy way. I mean, unless you Google, but it has a list of certified offices on the website, on the state website. And it's not an easy thing to navigate. But I looked, and there's not a whole lot of competition now.
Okay, perfect. Then all you got to do is just get the word out and be found easily, and having a Google listing and, a solid website. That's how people are going to find you, generally speaking. Okay. And on your Google business listing, literally say medical cannabis cards. That's what I do.
Oh, okay.
There's no question what I do. Like, it literally says medical cannabis cards, like, and a generic name before it. Flower, medical cannabis cards, whatever. Good health, medical cannabis cards. That literally should be the name of your practice on the Google business listing. It leaves no room for the imagination. They know what you're doing.
All right. I will do that.
Right. And more states are going recreational, all this kind of stuff. Like, no one cares.
Right. Because it's not legal federally. So I try to tell people, I went through painstaking through your medical cannabis class. I'm trying to be, sticking by the rules and making sure they understand, but you're making me feel like a little more loose.
Yeah. I mean, follow the rules. Don't operate a pill mill. Just don't.
No.
Right. Don't operate a pill mill, do things right per state regulations. You're seeing the patient face to face. You're filling out the paperwork. You're doing things right. You can do it right, and it should still only take you 10 minutes.
Right. Well, I'm saying that I'm pouring over my privacy practices. I'm pouring over my, all the patient education. I'm just like making sure I don't miss anything, which is good practice anyway. but lowering the prices and, being a little bit creative with the wording on the Google listing, like you said. So that's what I mean, that I'm feeling a little bit more comfortable.
Yeah. Yeah. Feel free to do it. I see no harm in it. Remember, the federal government's not coming after a nurse practitioner who's giving cards out.
Yeah.
They're going after the grows. They're going after the big dispensaries. I mean, come on.
Got it.
Like,
Okay.
just don't worry about it. I lose no sleep over my medical cannabis practice. None.
Okay.
Like, yeah.
Do you do any telehealth or you only do face to face?
I do a little telehealth because my state allows me to do it, but I mostly do it face to face. I don't know. I feel like the telemedicine cannabis evaluations personally, it works well if your systems are in place for it and everything. But I have so many relationships with so many places. I don't know. It's still lucrative for me to actually do it in person. And plus, I don't know. I just kind of like seeing people face to face and then, ordering the dispensary staff lunch and, I don't know. I kind of like the social aspect of it too.
Okay. All right. Fair enough.
But I mean, if you can do it telemed, do it. Have that option too. Why not?
Okay.
Yeah. So I think that kind of tackles the marketing aspect of that. I mean, don't put a terrible amount of thought into it. It's really simple.
I'm definitely going to do those Google listing things so that they can come up, because I definitely want to, like you said, I want to work smarter, not harder. I want to do the easy stuff, the medical marijuana that's low liability, low stress, that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Why not? Life's short.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, I know you had a few concerns here before we got started. So growing your opioid addiction and medical cannabis practice. I mean, obviously through good, solid marketing efforts, that'll grow. You got the insurance credentialing going in place there with the opioid addiction practice, so that should be ready to go here shortly for you. Yeah, do you have any other questions? I mean, it sounds like you're really on top of this. It sounds like you're a pretty solid entrepreneur here.
I work hard on it. So my husband thinks I'm nuts, but but I enjoy it. He doesn't think I'm nuts. He just thinks that I do a lot. I just want to have something, because my husband is retired military. He already has his retirement already set in stone. I need something for myself to be a little bit more stable.
So with that said, and let's talk about a little, maybe some financial planning here. So your goal is to retire. Okay. So you have income streams here. You're making money through your full-time job. You have part-time practices that are just, really just in the beginning stages of growth, but you have a solid head on your shoulder. There's no reason why, these practices won't blow up for you, especially if you're starting a little weight loss practice on the side as well. You're going to have 3 different businesses and a full-time job. You should be able to generate a significant amount of income over the next, 2 years. And so what you do with that income is going to essentially set the stage for early retirement and financial independence. So are your expenses in check?
Personal expenses?
Correct.
Yeah. I mean, I have a car payment and we have a mortgage, but I only use one credit card. So.
Okay. Could you live off of your husband's retirement, his income?
In theory, we could. We don't have a lot of bills, and both of our kids are graduated from high school. So if we cut down on some of the fun stuff, yes.
Okay. So essentially, you could be financially independent if you wanted to be frugal.
Yes, that is very true. I just choose not to be at this point.
Sure.
But yes.
Right. I don't blame you, right? Yeah. I mean, you're still young. You still gotta live life. Yeah. So then everything you make here, I mean, there is no reason why you shouldn't be, stashing away $100,000 a year right now into an investment account.
Not stashing 100,000, but we do have a pretty decent amount of money in the bank. COVID really helped us realize that we wasted money. So we actually were able to save a significant amount of money with COVID.
Okay. So how much do you have in your investments then? I mean, you don't have just like $100,000 sitting in the bank, do you?
No, not in one place. No.
Okay. Gotcha. So, I mean, just general, you don't have to give specific numbers here. Like about how much do you have in investments right now? I mean, where are you at in your financial independence journey?
So I have about 30,000 in stocks. I have a mutual fund that has about 25, 30. And I used to work for the federal government that has about probably another 25. So
you have about 100,000 saved.
Yeah. Like I said, we don't have it all in one place, but yeah.
Right. Okay. So you have about $100,000 invested. Well, it's nothing really in the grand scheme of financial independence, right?
Exactly. That's why I need to get my butt moving.
Correct. Yeah. I mean, $100,000 is nothing. I mean, that's
Mhm.
not, no, I mean, that's not anything to, scoff at. I mean, the majority of Americans will never have that kind of investment
Mhm.
savings. I mean, most people
Mhm.
will never, ever have that. It's a good springboard here. It's a good starting point. So I'm assuming you're making a six-figure income with this
Yeah.
cardiology job.
Yes.
And the practices right now really aren't generating much. So we're going to assume in the next, maybe the next year or two that, hopefully you'll be spinning off another 50, maybe 50, $60,000 in profit a year off those, maybe 100, who knows?
Right. And that's what I'm looking for to do that. So I can, like you said, just spring off with that money to just sock it away and make some decent investments.
Right.
Decent
Okay.
size.
So with the money that you take home from your job, and let's just assume that your businesses will start, bringing in $50,000 a year in the next year. Okay, let's be
Okay.
real conservative here. I mean, it could be
Mhm.
much more than that, or it could be less than that. Who knows? Let's just say $50,000 a year on
Mhm.
top of your cardiology salary. I'm assuming that'll probably end up being a total of what, $180,000 a year if you factor the
Mhm.
50, give
Mhm.
or take. That's a pretty healthy income, especially when you can live off of your husband's basically military retirement, right?
Yeah, definitely not hurting, that's for sure.
Yeah. So after you, pay taxes and all this kind of stuff, I mean, you should be able to walk away with,
Mhm.
you have a business, you have multiple businesses now. There are so many tax deductions afforded to you. I mean, you shouldn't pay more than 25% tax if you do it right. Make sure you take the tax course. Okay. I mean, go like use the strategies. Use the strategies I talk about in that course here. You should be able to lower your taxable income significantly through your businesses. So let's just say, for simplistic purposes, you're bringing home, let's just say $120,000 after it's all said and done. Okay.
Mhm.
What are you going to do with that $120,000? I mean, your husband's income, you could technically live off of that, but I mean, you
Mhm.
still want to have fun and live. So could you
Yeah.
not like say, hey, we're going to spend $40,000 a year of this to have fun with and live off of?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's possible. It's doable, right? I mean,
Yeah. It would be a
yeah.
little painful in the beginning, not, having to cut out the fun stuff like travel and dinner but we've done it. I mean, like during COVID, we went nowhere and we ate at home.
Right, right. Yeah, I mean, you don't have to give yourself super restrictions here. I mean, this is just an example, an exercise in frugality and being disciplined about it. So, I mean, there's no reason why you shouldn't be stocking away $80,000 a year, especially if you can live off of your husband's salary. I mean, very frugally you could, but there's no reason why you shouldn't be able to save and invest $70,000 or $80,000 a year. There really isn't.
In theory, yes, but do I know?
Right. That's what I'm saying, though. If
Yes.
you are disciplined here, you should be able to. So imagine for a moment here, you're saving let's just say $70,000 a year, which you can totally do. The only person stopping you is you here. So let's just do some basic math here. So let's say $70,000 a year, right?
Mhm.
Times 10 years, it's gonna be $700,000. You want to
Mhm.
retire when you're 55. So you want 10 more years in you. So that's
Mhm.
$700,000 saved if it's invested appropriately in a nice, good, balanced profile of some mutual funds, index funds, some
Mhm.
stocks, some bonds, that kind of stuff. There's no reason why you couldn't get a consistent 6 to 10% return on this.
Okay.
No reason why you can't. Okay. You'd be well over $1 million in 10 years if it was invested right. Easy.
That actually gives me a solid number to shoot for, to put on my radar to work with.
Yeah. That's totally realistic. That's not a fantasy.
Mhm. Mhm.
You could easily do that. And this is assuming that your salary and your income doesn't grow.
Right. Right.
So I mean, we're being very conservative here. If this opioid addiction practice takes off and you have a lot of patients and you hire another nurse practitioner there and you have 300, 400 regular patients, there's no reason why you couldn't get to that number in 5 or 6 years. And then plus you're going to own it, so you'd have just a passive income stream that you just have to manage. So you would basically be working a couple hours a week to keep it operational.
Mhm.
So you're retired. You have a business generating income, plus you have over $1 million in your brokerage account. You can
Mhm.
live very well.
All right. I like it. This is what my husband's been begging me to do. He was like, I don't know about you, but I'm going to retire very soon. And you can either be with me or not, like literally, but he said, you can either keep working or not work. It's up to you. That's why he keeps telling me to get this retirement situation handled.
Yeah. Yeah. It just all comes down to income and cash flow. That's
Mhm.
that's it. And so you just got to get the money saved, and you have to have a cash flowing asset. And if you get $1 million in that brokerage account, which there's no reason why you couldn't in the next seven years, probably realistically, you would have a passive income from that, and then plus your business. So
Hmm.
totally realistic. That's my plan. I already have a couple of nurse practitioners working at my men's health practice.
Hmm.
I could completely stop seeing patients right now at those practices, and I would still make $5,000 or $6,000 a month and
Wow.
wouldn't
See,
do
that's
anything.
what I'm looking for. Right, right, right. That
Right.
is
You could do,
goal.
yeah, that's your goal. You can do that. What's stopping you from doing that? You could easily do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Got my mind
So
working. I gotta really, I'm a planner, so I gotta make a plan.
make a plan. So this is what I would suggest you do.
Mhm.
Schedule a call with a financial advisor. Okay.
Okay.
Find a fee-based financial advisor. Do not find a financial advisor who works off commission, who's only going to push their products. Don't do that.
Okay.
So don't call Fidelity or any place like that. Just call an independent financial advisor and be like, hey, listen, I want to pay for 2 hours of your time. I want to go over my situation, and I want you to help me develop a plan.
Okay. All
And
right.
then he will create a plan for you based off of your income. And you will just set this up automatically to where it comes out of your bank account every month and gets invested in a certain way in your brokerage account. You don't even have to think about it.
Okay.
It'll sit there and just grow.
All
So
right.
you can use tax deferred accounts. You can pay tax, you have post tax accounts. There's various different things that you can do here. IRAs, self-employed 401k, self-employed IRAs, post tax brokerage accounts. There's so many different aspects here that, need to be covered that we really don't have time to go over, on this call. So either take the tax course, financial independence course, talk to a
Mhm.
financial advisor, and just get that set up and do it right. So that way you can leverage it from a tax perspective too.
Okay. I've been needing to talk to a financial advisor because, you know that the retirement talk is inevitable, but you just keep pushing it off and pushing it off. But this has given me momentum to actually get something in place so that I can be on an active course to retirement.
There you go. You summed it up perfectly. An active course. It's
Hmm.
not going to happen unless you're actively working on it.
Right, right. Have a plan, execute the plan, and keep it going.
Right. It's the same thing as starting a business. There's no difference.
Right, right. Okay. All
Right.
right.
Right. You can do this. There's no reason why you can't. Next time
Oh,
we talk in a year, I expect your investment account to be another $100,000 more. There's no reason why it shouldn't be.
I'm taking you up on that offer.
All right. Well, do you have any other questions? Anything else you want to talk about?
No, this was excellent. This was so, so helpful. I've got so many notes and so many things that I'm going to research and execute. I'm not just going to
Good.
write it, I'm going to execute.
Do it. Exactly. Yeah. So, hey, listen, I like to end each episode with you asking me a question. You have a question that you wanted to ask me.
What is your biggest lesson learned with all of your businesses? Like what was the most painful lesson that you learned in your business life?
Well, people have asked me this before, so I'm going to go over. God, there's so many. Like,
Oh no.
so there's just so many. It's so hard to pinpoint just one thing. I feel like that I wish I would have set up more passive income streams earlier. I
Mm,
killed myself for years. I was the one who had to see the patients. I was the one who was doing payroll, the bookkeeping, paying bills, answer the phone. I literally operated my businesses almost myself for a couple years. And, once I started hiring people and getting help, it was just so much easier. And instead of just working in my business, working for my business, I was finally able to just work on my business and have my business work for me. And
mhm.
so I wish I would have hired other people to work for me sooner and develop a passive income stream sooner. And that doesn't really necessarily apply to you, though. It sounds like you learned that lesson before you even had to really experience it. So,
I did a lot, even though I had a business partner for a good number of years. I did most of the work because at that point my job was so like cush that I had the time to do a lot of the heavy lifting. But then
right.
it just didn't, like I said, the partnership just didn't work out. And what would you say, if you could redo a business, what would that business be? Like if you wanted to redo and restart a business, what would that one be?
So my very, very first business was actually an opioid addiction business. It was a Suboxone practice, basically. Basically the same thing that you're doing. I started it prematurely. We weren't accepting insurance from the get-go. We were just kind of like cash only, but we were allowing insurance patients to come in and we were just going to retro bill. I guess we were just going to bill, once we got credentialed and, whatnot. And essentially I was working for free basically for like 4 months. It sucked. It burned me out. It left a bad taste in my mouth. So if I could do it over again, opioid addiction, Suboxone is a great niche practice. It really is. I still wish I still had mine. I closed it down. I just couldn't do it because I wasn't making any money. I felt like I was just working for free. You know what I mean? I mean, I did make some money, but I could have made a lot more. So if I could do it all over again, I would have been more patient and I would have waited for the insurance credentialing to complete first before I ever saw my first patient.
Okay. That I am waiting for my credentialing, and I was going to ask my credential, can we start, saying that we take this insurance and then retro bill? But you have answered my question. Thank you very much.
Don't.
Okay.
It is such a nightmare. Don't.
Okay. All right.
Stay away from that. But that's the answer to the question, though. If I could do it all over again, I wish I would have done it that way. Chances are I'd probably still have that practice. So,
okay.
Yeah.
That was very helpful. My gosh, that was very helpful. Thank you.
You're welcome. I'm glad we were able to get on this phone call. I think we have similar mindsets, so I think you're going to do well.
Thank you very much. I appreciate your time and your insight and your wisdom and your candor.
Well, you are very welcome. So, all right. Well, hey, listen, if you want to do a follow-up call anytime the next 6 to 12 months to kind of see where you're at, feel free to shoot me an email. Let's do that. Okay.
All right. Sounds good. Thank you.
Great. All right. Talk to you later.
Bye-bye.
All right. Bye. I hope everyone enjoyed the conversation with Shanda. She is doing very well. She's got a solid full-time job. She's got 2 practices she started, even though they're kind of in the infancy stages. There's a lot of room to grow there. She's got a little weight loss practice that she's also starting up as well. So she's doing very, very well. She's a very busy girl, it sounds like. But she understands that income generation is a pillar to financial independence, okay? You have to generate income to become financially independent. You just do. The more income streams you have, the more secure you're gonna be, and the faster you will achieve financial independence. I want everyone to walk away from this episode following her as an example, okay? She is following the Elite MP model, all right? She's gonna have multiple side businesses while maintaining a job. She is going to be able to generate a significant amount of income and become very, very financially secure. Sounds like a lot of work, because it is, all right? No one's gonna hand this to you on a silver platter, okay? You have to put the work into it. Once you get a couple side businesses up and going, the third one is easier. She already knows how to do it. This third one's gonna be a piece of cake for her. Once she starts accepting insurance for her opioid addiction practice, it will blow up. She will have another nurse practitioner working for her and she'll develop a passive income stream. Once the medical cannabis business picks up, she'll have a great little income source from there. Then the weight loss clinic, who knows, okay? The sky's the limit here. So I just want everyone to realize that you can do this. Shanda can do it. If I can do it, you certainly can as well. Hope everyone enjoyed that episode. Talk to you guys later. Thanks. Bye. Thank you for listening to the show. Quick legal disclaimer. The content of this podcast is meant for informational and entertainment purposes only and should not be used as legal, financial, medical, regulatory, or practice-specific advice. For information pertaining to your specific legal, financial, medical, or practice-specific needs, please be sure to consult with your lawyer, CPA, medical director, and/or your state's practice laws and the most up-to-date clinical guidelines. As always, do your due diligence when it comes to any information found online and in podcasts. The content in this podcast is copyrighted by Galaxy Medical Southwest 2022 and cannot be duplicated, rebroadcasted, or reproduced without our written permission.